Michael, you've been writing about the Twin Peaks model since 1995, and there's been a lot of interest come back into the topic since the financial crisis. So could you outline some of the lessons you think that we've learned in the last couple of years?
Well, it's very nice to see the Twin Peaks model come back into fashion. There's clearly been a reassessment of its value after the global financial crisis, and it's gratifying to see that the UK is now moving in a Twin Peaks direction. However, I think individual countries need to be very careful in selecting the right regulatory structure for their circumstances. The Twin Peaks model was one that I advocated in the UK because it reflected the changing nature of the industry in the UK and the fact that we had a very highly developed consumer protection framework. Those two conditions, in my view, mean that a Twin Peaks type structure makes a great deal of sense for the UK. It reflects the nature of the industry, and it reflects the fact that we have a consumer protection regime which is very highly developed. For many other countries, though, those two conditions often don't exist, either individually or together. In many countries, particularly in the emerging markets, banks continue to dominate the financial sector. In many countries, consumer protection regimes are less highly developed than they are in the UK. So if you don't have those two conditions in place, what sort of regulatory structure should you really think about? It doesn't necessarily follow that Twin Peaks would make sense in those conditions. I think what countries have to do is to think about, first of all, what is the structure of the financial industry itself? If you've got a financial industry that's still very bank-dominated, in which non-bank financial institutions don't play a very large role, then having a Twin Peaks type structure probably doesn't make much sense. The same goes if you don't have much in the way of a consumer protection regime. So my advice to countries that are looking at the Twin Peaks model, again, now that it's come back into fashion, is to consider very carefully what is the structure of your industry, and then design your regulatory institutions on the basis of your own individual industry structure. It's not something that you should just adopt because it's the current fashion to do so, but you need to analyse the type of industry that you're aiming to regulate.